Hey, everybody. I knew Rodney and I had a lot of abilities, but I never knew we could predict the future. Listen to the first part of this podcast and compare it with what's going on in the political world today. And I think you'll say that Rodney and I had a bit of a view into the future. But then again, I'm looking at the Democrats and I'm like, okay, who you going to replace Biden with? They talked to Gavin Newsom after the thing, and
Yeah.
I just don't think he's at that point yet. They talked to Kamala Harris, and I think she would do well, but I think once again, and actually, hindsight's always 20/20, but I think the Democrats screwed up again in the fact that knowing Biden's age, knowing that he was starting to slip mentally, I think they should have done more to put Kamala Harris more in the spotlight. I know they gave her the border thing, which is a disaster, period. But I think they should have been thinking about, okay, if we get down to election time and Biden is really struggling, we need somebody that we can say, hey, this person, she was the vice, but she was right there along all these policy decisions. She can carry on. And they didn't do that. I think they put her at a disadvantage to even try to think about bringing her and letting her lead the ticket. I just don't think there's nobody, to tell you the truth, that he to bring in. But I think they missed an opportunity for her to sort of prep her a little bit better in case of a worst case scenario, if you will.
Well, I'm disappointed in the Democrats in the first place because they followed by the Republicans because, right after they got elected, they started trying to denigrate her because of his age, thinking that she could possibly be the president. And I think the Democrats have followed suit with that. She has done nothing to deter them for just saying, shoo in. Biden can't run. Kamala's next.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, that shows their bias also. With that, you got to think, because even when they talked about it the other night, they named off everybody but Kamala until the last afterthought. Oh, and then Kamala, the hell, she should have been the first thought. But I'm when they first got into office, and she has grown with the experience of being the vice president. I think she had the attitude before of like, the hell with them. I'm going to be who I am. Sometimes we don't know how to play the game. Sometimes we so stuck on being who we are, you forget. Sometimes you got to be an actor. You ain't got to reveal who you are, just play the role. But I know she was getting on my nerve every time I saw her talking on television and she started that old goofy ass laugh she had. I'm like, come on now. This is a situation where you got to put on a face. Not everybody is happy that you're there, number one. But number two, when you get up into that, look at Obama. Obama had to be, he wasn't himself. He was that figure that he had to be taken seriously. It's just like with any of us who get into a management position, we can't really be who we are. We gotta put on I'm not saying a facade, but you gotta be on a serious tip. And I think she soon chilled out on that. And the times that I've seen her here of late, the last year or so, she's been serious about what she's talking about. And I just resent the fact that the Democrats had just basically eliminated her from being the one. And I think she could be a good one.
Yeah, I think the same thing. I think the same thing that they had an opportunity, if, like you say, if nothing else, to have somebody warming up in the bullpen, and they didn't do that. And I think that, they're in a position now to where even though the ones who even talk about replacing Biden, there's nobody to replace him with. I saw an interesting story on, I don't even know who this guy is. Like I say, I don't watch a whole lot of the talk TV and stuff like that, but he said the the replacement for Biden is going to be Michelle Obama. I'm like, Michelle Obama ain't going to run for president.
Yeah,
You know,
man.
I said, she ain't going to run for president. Yeah, she might be popular. She might do well. I just don't think there's any way in hell that she would run for president after seeing what her husband went through.
You're damn right.
I just don't think that's going to even happen.
That's just common sense. But these white pundits, man, ignorant. And that woman ain't wanting to be she don't want that hassle. Hell, they got $400,000-$500,000 for life. She don't need to go in there and get no more.
Yeah.
They writing books and doing movies. I mean, it's just dumb, man. And then to see all the scrutiny, she was just the first lady, and she just made suggestions about diet and exercise, and they went ape.
Mm-hmm.
Who would want to put up with that? Her husband wore a brown suit.
Yeah. They do. They do stuff like that, and but it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see. I gotta ask about your boy though. You think Bronny is gonna get the Lakers over the hump?
Bronny gonna be an afterthought after.
I was debating my barber just yesterday. He said, Mick, he when he was at US, he had a pretty good shot. And I'm like, Ralph, he ain't do nothing in college. How you think he's gonna do something in the pros? It's all a PR stunt.
That's all it is. and LeBron throwing his weight around, making them draft him because he know he wouldn't have got drafted otherwise.
No. I think they want to make that little bit of history of being on the same team. And then, I personally think LeBron's on his way out,
Well,
he may be there another year, but I'm like, yeah, well, you're going to tell me of all the players in college coming out and it's available, he was, what was he, 55th pick or whatever of all? I said, no, it is a publicity stunt.
They like 2,055. And then they don't lie like they always did in basketball all these years, but people are hip to it now. I don't know why it was a big deal. Oh, he's 6'3", 6'4", then they measure him, he's 6'1". Come on, man. You ain't finna do nothing in there. This league now is such that unless, and I can't even think of one now, because ain't too many 6'1" guards in there doing nothing. You ain't finna. Plus two, you 6'1", you got to be a hell of a shooter to be relevant. He ain't no hell of a shooter.
No, that's what I was telling my barber. I'm like, he said, well, Mickey, remember Muggsy Bogues and Nate Robinson? I said, well, that's a whole nother era.
Yeah.
That was a whole nother era. I said, the only reason that I think he could even do something is the fact that the NBA don't play defense no more. Right. I said, they just giving up on playing defense anymore. I said, but other than that.
His daddy is the number one no defense playing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 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 They don't play it in the league, period. I said, but I said, I may be wrong. I said, I was wrong on Larry Bird. I said, Larry Bird wasn't going to be nothing. I said, yeah, he'll probably make a team and then he'll be in the league a couple of years, move around. And I said, I was dead wrong on Larry Bird. I said, but I don't think so. I just don't. I said, Bronny is not Larry Bird.
No, you finna be dead right on this one. Man, he ain't. This is so concocted that it ain't even funny. It just so happened. Now they gonna try to clean it up, talking about the agent told other teams don't draft him and all this kind of stuff. They weren't gonna draft him. No damn.
Who was going to draft him?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, man, give me a break. This boy, and I have to catch myself because I don't want to, he's a kid. I don't want to make him out to be the bad boy. This is your daddy's making. People are not pulling for you because of your damn daddy with his sorry ass. He ain't played nothing. I had a talk with a guy in the BX today. He had his Laker cap on. I didn't even notice it.
Right.
He was listening to his phone. Actually, he was in a phone kiosk selling phones and services. And I've seen him before in there. He's always nice guy. You know, how you doing, sir? I'm like, oh, how you doing, man? You know, that kind of. Anyway, I was listening to it. They was talking about Bronny James on there, and I was like, you know me. I was like, hey man, what you think about that? He's like, well, I don't know, you know. And then I hadn't even looked at his hat. He had a Lakers cap on, man. Then he said, well, I'm from LA, you know, and I'm a Lakers fan. He pointed his hat. I said, oh man, I didn't even see that. He said, yeah. He said, but I'm with you, sir. But I told him, he started laughing. I felt bad after I said it because you know, he kind of acted like he was a little on the religious tip, you know.
Right.
And I said, so what y'all gonna do with little bitch? And he was like, yeah, well, I know. He said, I ain't no LeBron fan. I said, hey, I said, that's rich coming from a Laker fan. Every Laker fan I know, I always think I said, man, the dude got records that if you play 20 plus years, you ought to have a record in something, you know. I said, so he ain't done nothing great. I said, then he had to go and find somebody to play with to win championships. I said, if you the GOAT, you supposed to take people to the championship.
That's exactly what I was telling my barber, Ralph. I said, Ralph, if you're supposed to be that guy that's that piece of the puzzle to take them to the championship. I said, look, you know, he had AD and all them other people out there.
Yeah.
Why didn't they win a championship? You know,
Exactly.
you know, AD was hurt and he don't show up sometimes and all that.
Yeah,
I
LeBron
said,
don't either.
well, that's what I'm saying. And I said, I will admit, LeBron, he ain't the same guy he was when he came in the league. You know, he's probably at, if not past his prime by all means. I said, but still, you know, that was supposed to be the reason he went to LA, and that didn't happen. He was there. Why did he make it happen?
Yep. That's it, man. I mean, this dude, I said, well, I'm gonna come back next year, and we're gonna talk about it. So when Bronny is back down in the G League, and his daddy gonna be up there finding somebody else to blame because they ain't winning. Because he said, yeah, you're right. Because every time they don't win, it's somebody else's fault. It ain't never his fault. I was like, yep.
Yeah.
And but yeah, man, it's I have no problem. Like I told him, I said I have no problem with the brother off the court. He does some good things, but on the court, they done built him up, and it made me think about a cable guy came out here, the white dude we was talking about. Because they had some stuff on about the Thunder we got talking about. He's a Lakers fan. I said, look, man, you know, I went through my whole little spiel. I don't care for LeBron and all that. But LeBron, yeah, that's not what I was gonna say now. But I went through the whole spiel. He don't play no defense. I said, and you know why LeBron has that name and that status? I said, because when he came out of the league, he wasn't ready. He couldn't throw a sack of balls and make a basket.
Mm-hmm.
I said, but they thought they found the Michael Jordan replacement, because you know when Michael retired, everybody's gonna be the next Jordan. So they made him up to be that because he was 6'9" and 260, 70 pounds and all that. I said, but he couldn't shoot. So what did they do? They changed the way they officiated the game. They let him go down there, dip his shoulder, run over folks like a bull in the china shop. And then he had the narrative. He was the poor black boy from the ghetto with a mama there up there acting like a hoe. And they made it, like I say, I call them Trading Places. Remember that movie Trading Places?
Right.
They went in there to see let's see how we can make this boy be what he is. And I bring that up because have you seen the latest commercial out now? They really pissing me off because Jaylen Brown was the MVP, but they try to act like Jaylen Brown wasn't nowhere to be near. It was all Jayson Tatum.
Mm-hmm.
And now they got him on the commercial about, yeah, I come from a single home, and my mama this, and she made things this and that and that. I said, that's exactly what they did with LeBron. I don't know what his circumstance was, but I think his mama went to law school or something.
Jayson Tatum?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if she went to law school, but I know she went to school and They were talking about how she would take him sometime to classes and stuff.
Classes, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
stuff. Yeah, yeah.
But they got that poor black woman single family home narrative going. Now they got it on Jayson Tatum. You ain't heard it nowhere since, but now they done won. Now here it come. You know, and I'm like I told my cable man, I said they're only interested in the optics of what they can make something be. You know, I said Jayson Tatum is a good player. I ain't taking nothing away from him, but Jaylen Brown was the MVP, and he was the reason that they got there. But you don't want to talk about him because Jaylen Brown was a valedictorian of his class, graduated college 3 years, had NASA and I want to say one of the Wall Street Journal, one of the things on there, but they were wanted him to come and do internship because the dude, I saw somewhere where they said his IQ was like 147.
Mm.
He's a sharp dude. They don't like him because he's quiet, but if you had somebody with all those kind of qualities and then playing ball like he playing, but you're going to promote this other guy and then have him on there talking about coming from nothing. It's something to do with being taught how to maximize his money and doing wealth for the future and all that. And I'm like, man, so scripted. It just makes me ill. You know, they don't like, or they don't want to promote Jaylen Brown because he's a Muslim. Dude is serious and smart.
Mm-hmm.
I was listening to one, I think it was Isaiah Thomas on NBA Channel when he said one time, he said, you know, this dude is special. So his best friend is his grandfather. And I could just see that grandfather being a Muslim and teaching him and showing him. And the dude is just smart, man.
Yeah, but it's always been about that narrative. When it's in professional sports, this just like in football. For all that Marshawn Lynch ever did, you never saw him during his playing days, hawking anything.
Right.
Like I say, it was just because he didn't fit that narrative of what the NFL was wanting to be as far as the poster for the league.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always been about who can make that best pitch for the league, and regardless of where they may be as far as that good of a player, this is what they can do for the league a lot of times, and that's the way it's often been.
And who the white folks might follow and like.
Yeah.
Because they did Kareem like that. They tried to villainize him simply because his name was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right.
So it's that narrative, and when I was pointed out to this dude, he was like, "Oh man, I never thought about that. I know you didn't. You had to, But man, they pick who they want for whatever reason. Like Isaiah Thomas, that was Bobby Knight's boy, so he was cool because Bobby Knight wasn't nothing but a white supremacist and a bully. I wish he would have hit one of my sons like that. I'd have beat his big fat ass.
Oh, man. Well, like I say, that's just the nature of pro sports. When it comes down to there's one game on the court, and there's a whole other game in the press.
Oh yeah,
it's always been about that, and despite all that, about the only person that I can say that went against all the norms, and I think it's because there really wasn't so much of a league that you had to be worried about, was Ali. He did all the things that everybody sort of hated. They hated him. Like you say, people would go to the matches just to see him get beat, kind of thing.
Yep.
But he didn't care. He was able, because he was that good. And he wasn't controlled by a league as much as the NBA and baseball and things of that nature, that he could get away with it. But when it comes down to these leagues like the NFL, the NBA, they want these poster childs. They want the poster child to be there, and they'll do whatever they can to make them the poster child.
They damn sure will. You see, they didn't promote Grant Hill because Grant Hill came from a family of, Calvin and his mom,
Mm-hmm.
who was real nice. They didn't say nothing about that. They don't want to talk about those kind of people, because that don't fit the narrative.
No, no. It's always got to be the ones that came up, like you said, usually a single parent home that, the mom had 3 or 4 jobs and the kids had to take care of themselves since they were 2 years old and change their own diapers. And I mean, that's the kind of narrative they think America wants to hear,
Yeah.
And you would think after all these years, you would get past that, but it's still going on today.
But
I mean,
these
I
brothers
guess I'll look at what difference does it make if Jayson Tatum was raised by a single parent? What difference does that make?
has nothing to do with it.
That's always been my question. What
And you gonna
difference?
tell me out of all these leagues, ain't no white boys in there that's brought up by a single parent? That's just like Jason Witten. His daddy was beating the hell out of his mama, and she moved back home to her parents, and he was basically raised by his grandfather. Well, he came out with that later on after he was damn near through with the cowboy. But they didn't promote that all through there.
Oh
No.
no.
It's a joke, man. I cringe every time I hear that, and they let them maximize everything. And then when they're on their deathbed, I'm listening to all these, I'm looking at stuff all day, every day, talking about these old actors and actresses and what went down and what happened. But yeah, you didn't put that out there to hurt their marketability when it was going on. But now, don't nobody care about what they did back when. They old and decrepit. They just want some attention now. What was that? I was reading something the other day, and it was talking about back when I can't remember what it was, but it's paramount to like Jack Kennedy. When he was him and his brother Robert was pulling trains on not Doris Day, Marilyn Monroe.
Right. Uh-huh.
Why you telling us that now? Who gives a damn now? It's a trip, but you're gonna wait. You ain't gonna tarnish their fame while they're in it.
Yeah. Well, when you can control the press and what gets out there, you can do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you're right.
That makes a big difference when you have that kind of control. And if somebody wants to get out there and put it out there, they'll find a way. They'll find a way to keep it hid.
Yep.
So or discredit if it happens to get out to discredit. So yeah, that's just the sort of the story that we've had to live with forever.
Oh, no doubt. Oh, hell, back in the day, all them gumshoes that were calling themselves reporters and everything, they had a code. They didn't reveal that kind of stuff on the white ball players. But as the leagues got integrated, then they turned into hunting down to be controversial. Because hell, like they were talking about Babe Ruth was drunk and sleeping with all kind of hoes, but nothing ever came out in the press until later on when they was trying to keep his legacy alive. Now you want to tell the truth, but he got the benefit of the whole deal. I was listening to something the other day. This white dude was mad because now, did you see where they now have included the old Negro League stats into the Major League stats?
Yes.
I was like, now they mad. Why the hell would they do that? Because Josh Gibson tore his ass up.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Did you hear what Reggie Jackson had to say on the baseball game the other night when they asked him about trying to make it seem like a glorious thing? I don't think they was ready for Reggie's response.
Oh no, I didn't hear that. No, I didn't.
Oh no! Oh, you didn't hear that? Oh no, they was asking him about his his memories of playing down south during.
Yeah, I heard that part.
Yeah, he went off, and I don't think they was ready for that on live TV.
Right.
But yeah, he was talking about how be going in and being called a nigger and that kind of stuff, and can't eat in restaurants. And I said I hated that stuff.
Yep.
And they was I think they was expecting him to sort of more almost not sort of glorify it, but talk about how great those days were. I don't know. Reggie said, "No, that ain't the way it was. I can tell you exactly how I felt."
Yeah.
And you could tell the other guys around him was looking like, "Oh wow, we didn't expect that."
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. He said Charlie Finley. They told him he can't stay here. He can't eat here. Charlie Finley said, "Well, we all leaving." You know, they always seem to have a story like that because that's what Branch Rickey supposedly did. You know, and all that. But yeah, man, I you know, for years these brothers have kept quiet. They need to tell it, man, because that just all that does is just like with all the other facets of life. It makes them think that they're superior, number one, but number two, that everything that they've done is legit. You ain't they're as far as I'm concerned, they're like LeBron James. You don't own no record because you ain't never included everybody. Nobody was ever included. Y'all kept it select, and that's who y'all made your heroes out of. Josh Gibson and all them guys that was there. Satchel Paige pitched till he was 100 almost, and you know, and the dude records couldn't be touched. And now they mad because they gonna include him now, you know.
and it just makes you, it makes you think back to where you wish there was an opportunity for them to play against each other.
Yeah.
Just to see. I mean, everything now, of course, is conjecture about how things would have been. But it just, and you got to be careful. I mean, I must admit, they're going in the opposite direction than some. They actually are bringing those things out now, where it seems like a lot of places, especially in Florida, they want to push all that stuff farther and farther back into the weeds. At least they're bringing it out.
Yeah, it would have been great if, all sports league were never segregated, but that's just not the way things were in our country. So bringing those Negro League stats into the overall Major League Baseball stats is a way to go. But we'll never know how it could have been one-on-one. Well, we hope you enjoyed this edition. Join us next time for Old Fools Talking Old School. Until then, this is Mickey G. Peace.